Alrighty, so this is going to be interesting for the first time, but I just shot my first USPSA match in probably close to a year, I think. Roughly, I think the last one I shot was in August. Also a level 1 local match. It was pretty fun. This one was a bit more technically difficult, in my opinion. A lot more moving, a lot more positions, a lot more interesting types of things like that. That was fun to see. Definitely a new challenge. Uh, I think the plan is to get a USPSA membership within this week, and at the same club that that match was just at is a classifier match with 6 classifiers. So if I get a membership, I think I can get my 6 matches in and get classified. And the idea is to either shoot one of the upcoming major matches. Now I know, as I just said, one match in the past year, so I haven't really shot much USPSA, and now I'm planning on trying to go to a level 3 match, which I've never gone to before. So it's only delusion until it works, right? So, but yeah, I think it'd be fun. A lot of learning can be done. Really cool, I think, to see everything, just to see the different environment. I've watched a ton of videos on it, and it just looks like a really cool thing to go to. It's not too far of a drive for me. I mean, it's a drive, but it's not like halfway across the country, which is cool. Um, I'm debating on quite a few different matches, but the 2 main ones that I was looking at was US IPSC Nationals. That's a big one, and the Area 5, I think. Here, sorry about that. Area 5, I think, is where it would be. I think that's what it is. I have it on my phone. I know what I have on my phone. I think it's the Area 5 Championship, which is also, yeah, Area 5. Area 5 Excalibur Ammunition Area 5 Championship presented by D2 Customs. Also, I believe, an area match. They're both at the same range in Marengo, Ohio, at the Cardinal Center. Um, the Area 5 Championship is August 6th through the 10th, and the IPSC one is, I think, the 20th through the 24th. I think that's when those are. I think. Don't quote me on that. I'll figure that out, and somewhere on here I'll confirm or deny, or I'll maybe just show up with a thing. But yeah, so that's the plan. Still trying to decide which one, because I mean it's July 14th right now, and if I go to the Area 5 one, that's about 2 weeks, 3 weeks away, 2.5 weeks away, almost 3 weeks away. And I can already tell I'm going to have to improve a lot for my own standard. I know a lot of times the first time for stuff you should probably go open-minded and try to learn, which obviously I'll be trying to do that, but I'm trying to hold myself to a standard. Try to do at least something good. I kind of have this thing in my mind that I'm just going to be good at it. Again, delusion. It's only delusion until it works. So, but either way, I guess I'm yapping too much, but this first match was really fun. It was a good refresher. I got a lot of notes on it. I filmed on this. This is the DJI Osmo Action 4. And I used the head mount for it. And I wore a hat, not backwards. I think I'm going to try it backwards next time if I shoot to get a better angle. But I had it on my hat, and then I had my headphones over. I also have in-ears for double protection. And I think it turned out fine. The weight, I really didn't ever seem to notice it was there in the middle of runs in the terms of like moving. And I actually moved probably the most aggressive I've ever moved in stages. I don't know if I'm going to do this, but I have old videos of me in like the other matches I've shot in before from a while ago. And my movement was... Let's just say my movement was very new, which, to be fair, I was new at the time. So I'm not sure if I'll pull this up. I might have a clip of it somewhere. If it's gonna be inserted here. But it's not great. And again, I can't really hold myself too much accountable for it because again, fairly new. But as you can see, probably I was never really that aggressive going into positions. I kind of moved a little bit quickly here and there, but like not really like really going at it, you know. So Ben Stoger, who I was watching, he has a lot of good content on YouTube, and I know he doesn't do. So I'm shooting PCC. That's the division I want to shoot in. Eventually, I will shoot in some of the pistol divisions. That's the plan. But for now, with how things are kind of rolling and the way things are kind of working, I think PCC is going to be the one I focus on right now. Mostly because of what I have. And but even though Ben Stoger is a mostly pistol shooter, he does reviews and stuff on rifle. I'm sure there's stuff I haven't found yet, but a lot of his stuff that I've seen so far has been about pistol and using a pistol. But like movement and stuff, I believe you can definitely take into account. I've also been watching people like Max Leograndis, obviously, who's arguably one of the best, if not the best, of PCC right now. Who else? There's so many good shooters on YouTube that make so many great videos that I've been using to try to like soak up the information and learn. And so I'm gonna definitely be trying to work on some things. I already know in my notes I have things I got to work on. Movement's a big one. Speeding, learning when to slow down a little bit. Like the whole match, I think the entire gist of the match for the most part, it got a little bit better towards the end, but especially at the beginning, I was going way too fast in my own head. The hits were not showing up for it, making a little few mistakes that wouldn't have really happened if I took like 0.25 of a second more on a better positioning and a better aiming, like aiming a little bit harder on a target. It would have been 2 Alpha instead of 2 Charlie, and I know a few instances when that happened. But yeah, I got quite a bit to work on, especially if I go to the Area 5-1, which is what I'm thinking I'm going to try to do. But yeah, let's get into it. So the match was 7 stages, I believe. I filmed all of them. 2 of them kind of got corrupted, but I can explain what goes on because I have the PDF of the stage. The people on Practice Square posted the stages beforehand, before the match, like a week before the match. I looked at them. I know that in like Pride Nationals and bigger matches, they're not going to do that, but to ease back into it and kind of get my brain thinking about how match design, or like stage design and stage flow should kind of go, I believe was just a good idea to kind of get reps in, because the really only way to really get good at it is getting reps in, and it doesn't matter if it's by getting it a week beforehand or going. It just made more sense. So I looked at them, and so I have the PDF stages for the stages that I didn't, the filming got corrupted or whatever, and so I'll pull those up and kind of explain what happened, and I also have the notes for them as well. But the first stage was a warm-up stage. It was standing in a box, a paper target like 7 yards away, and a steel target like 7.5 yards away. And the stage was shoot 3. Oh, excuse me. Shoot 3 at the paper, on start, and the steel, and reload 3 at the paper again, and that's it. For pistols, it was all strong hand only, but for PCC, you don't have to do that. You get both hands on the rifle, as per normal. Fun, yeah. But as for that, I did go into that stage with the mindset of, I know I need to shoot alphas for this one. There's no excuse to not shoot alphas with a 7 yard piece of paper away. But I need to shoot it fast. If I know that at local matches you're not really fighting against people in your division too much, especially on PCC, which there was like 2 people shooting PCC, including me. Carry optics, you can kind of get away with it because that's by far was the biggest division, but I wasn't in carry optics. So kind of was fighting for like overall. And overall I'm not going to spoil that yet, but I'll get to it. But I knew I had to go a little fast. So I had to go quick. So here's the overall, here's the video I have.
Okay.
So I at different stages, and this is the first time I've used a camera too, so not only is this one angled too low, you can't fully see the target the best, but I fixed that later in the next stages. I also have different points in which I start the video. Most of the time I would, what I ended up figuring out was the best route that I would do is as I'm on deck or in the hole or whatever, start it, get ready, get prepared. I'll be able to kind of go through and see what my mental plan was beforehand. I walk up, do whatever, do the stage, stop, and then also walk through and look at hits. Go back to the bench with my stuff, and then turn the camera off. If people are talking, whatever, keep it on, whatever. That's the plan that I think will be the best to kind of get all the information for the stage. So here's the start, and I brought my PCC up. I think the rule is technically I can uncase it at the bench with the chamber flag in, facing muzzle up or however safe direction, and walk up to the box. I think I'm going to do that next time. I think that's the actual rules. I just brought the case up with my PCC every time. Not sure if that was the right way to do it, but it was a safe way to do it, and it was fine.
How to use it?
But yeah, so you can kind of see here the warm-up stages were actually in the middle of the stages that you started on for each squad. So there's four squads. There's like 7 stages, but 4 of the stages had this warm-up. And then after the warm-up was done and everyone shot it, they took the paper off, the stand off. They took the piece of steel. You're not going to be able to see it. Here, let's put this here. They took this piece of steel and then put that tire under it, so no one had any instance to ever shoot it. It made it easy across for everyone, and that's how they did it across all the stages. So let's get back.
See if anybody else back there can do it.
Anybody know how to use this?
All right,
Thank you.
go ahead.
So, getting ready, unzip, get the gun out. For those of you wondering, JP5, fun fact, won this gun at a competition. That's the only reason I'm using it right now. Again, if I had won a different gun, I might be shooting a different division. But for now, I won a JP5 at the competition I was at. It's the pin shoot in Central Lake, Michigan. Love it there. Been going there for many years. Been shooting PCC really well there and rifle there. Everyone there is just the best. It's an awesome event. I highly recommend going to it if you can.
You want to hold the barrel flag? Okay.
I got him to hold the barrel flag. I figured that was something that most range officers do. Optic is a Holosun 510C, I think. Yeah, I think that's what it is. This is just tape for grip. I have a JP barrier stop, which is like that small metal piece that you can kind of use to push up against barriers if you're doing that. I never really push it up against anything. It's just something extra I can kind of hold on to. And then the 45-degree mounted optic is a Vortex Venom 6 MOA dot. Yeah. And it comes into handy later in one of the other stages. But yeah, so this stage, really straightforward. 3 on the paper, 1 on the steel, force reload, 3 on the paper. Really straightforward, easy warm-up. And that mag is a 21 rounder. I figured don't drop a 30 rounder if you're only going to use 4 shots, and then reload with a big stick. Big stick is like half full for balance so that you're not loading in a full mag, because loading a full mag on something like this doesn't make sense to me, especially when you're going to use 3. This comes into effect later. Fun fact. So
Safety on belt like that?
Correct.
Okay.
So you're ready forward and getting ready.
Stand by. If you're finished, unload your clear.
Super straightforward.
Well,
Drop the round. I'm like, I don't think I caught any of the rounds I ejected like that. So not going to be doing it like that anymore. I'm going to turn the gun over and rack it. Whatever.
Clear.
Super
You have
straightforward.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
You gotta drop the hammer first. So, hammer, flag it.
Going through the safeties. Turning off the sight. I get a little bit more efficient at this going through.
Thank you.
Again, super straightforward.
6 alpha. 6
6
alpha.
alpha. Again, shot it exactly how I needed to. Didn't need to go any faster or I should have got a little bit faster, but for first stage and not shooting in a while.
I kind of fumbled the reload.
Talking
268.
to some of my friends, some people
Holy.
talking.
I kind of fumbled the reload a little bit too in my hand.
But yeah, that's the most of it. So what ended up happening after that, and I'm using the double alpha Lynx belt. I've loved it. I like it so much so far. It's super nice and collapsible. But what I ended up doing was taking 2 of their like racer pouch mags, not the expensive metal ones, but like the plastic ones, because I'm broke. So that was saving money. But they normally come like this, where they're kind of 90 degrees to the mount. But these 2 that I have, the way that I have it is the front mag that's like right in the middle of my waist is angled pretty much horizontally to make one reload if I need it fast, quick, easy, nothing crazy. And then I have another mag kind of at like, I want to say left hip bone ish. That's kind of at like a 45-degree angle here. But these ones are not mounted like the normal way. These ones are mounted so like 90 degrees flipped from what they normally come from. And because of that, you can see it now. I drilled holes in both of them so that you could take the Allen wrench and actually like really tighten it to the belt. I hadn't done that before this match. And immediately after I shot that, I come back and this front pouch, the main pouch to reload, was just spinning because it wasn't cranked down. It was not great. So I ended up having to just completely take it off altogether because I didn't trust it. I didn't want it to fall off in the middle of a run. So I bit the bullet and just took this one off. And then eventually this one started going off too. So I did fix that for next time. Good learning experience. So then I was banking on I really don't want to have to reload from a pocket. I have another pocket in the back, but that one's for dump mag if I don't use it in my back pocket or whatever. I didn't really want to force myself to reload on a pocket super far back. So I was like, I'm going to have to shoot pretty well here, consistent, not try to take any major extras or have any problems so that the reloads are easier because I don't have two mags that are easily accessible the way I really need them to be able to push how I need to, assuming I have to reload. So that's what happened with there. So warm-up, pretty straightforward. Here's what I had for my notes, and this was written right after I shot it. Warm-up, felt good. Fast 3 after the reload, and saw the dot well. Could have gone a little bit faster at first, but overall not bad. So exactly what I was thinking going into that, really good. So the next stage, so the stage we were on after that is called Who Farted. Very funny name. The shooter area, it looked like a horseshoe. So that's where the inspiration came from that, which I liked it. It was cool. So this one. This one is just a lot of targets, kind of pretty straightforward. Walking through it beforehand, my friends and I kind of were thinking get into this position, kind of where I'm starting, so I can shoot this far target and this close no shoot. Take a stutter step to this right corner, shoot this far target, close target, and 2 targets over here, and then kind of move on and keep going. That was the plan, and I think I could have executed it well outside of like 2 things, and I'll show you what happens here. So I get ready. I'm ready to go. I kind of go through the running plan. You can kind of see. I'm trying to, something I've seen is a lot of people kind of before they get ready to start, they're on the line, they're ready. They take the mental, close their eyes, and just count and make sure they know their plan. I found that actually helped a lot. Naturally, it felt easier, and I didn't feel like I missed any targets. So I think I'm going to be doing that from now on. I think it's a good way to kind of mentally focus into what you're planning on. So that's the plan for that.
Are you ready? Stand by.
So you heard the click. Mag just double fed. And I'm dealing with the mag malfunction this whole time. Not fun. Ended up ditching the mag altogether. New mag. So, and I'm stupid because as I'm messing with the mag, now that becomes and throws off my whole match flow. You can see it right here. 2 no shoots right at the head. I'm aiming like right here. My brain doesn't register. You're 2.5 yards away from this target. Your height over bore is going to be so exaggerated. You need to be aiming at the neckline at least to be hitting in the A zone that you're thinking you're going to hit at. Not right at the top of the A zone above this no shoot because you're going to hit the no shoot. And look what I did. So threw off the flow of the sequencing a little bit. I saw that the no shoot happened. I think in the corner of my eye or like reference, I saw this bullet right here. I didn't notice this one. So I do come back to shoot this, and I get an alpha, I think. But at that point, I shot 2 no shoots, so it doesn't really matter. This stage kind of goes out the window for me a little bit. Outside of this, not bad. So I'll continue.
If you're finished, then let's go Chris.
Yeah, so overall match stage. Yeah, and so what I'm saying, going back to what I said at the beginning, where I said take maybe 0.25 seconds extra. I'm rushing because obviously I make 2 no-shoots. I had a malfunction. I need to make up time. I didn't really need to do that, but I did. So running into this position, I had to shoot this close target and this far target right here. I think I had 4 Charlies on both of them for the total of both of them. And I knew it happened because I rushed to the position. I overshot it like a step and a half into this red barrier right here. And I barely could see anywhere of the alpha on either of them, really. And I just saw the dot on cardboard, took it, and left. Not a good idea. Should have took the alphas. If I focused a little bit more and landed in my landing zone a little bit better, I think I would have had better alphas. But such is life. Sometimes you get bad stages, and, you know, that's how it goes sometimes. Obviously, he's looking at it. He sees that it broke the perf. I knew it did after I looked at it for a second. He saw the alpha, so I got 1 alpha, 1 mic, 2 no-shoots. Not great, but that's how it goes. And so my match notes immediately was bad mag, ? I wasn't sure exactly what happened. I think I might have top-loaded the mag. So I was using a official Glock mag with a Terran Tactical extension. And I think it's rated for like 42, 44 rounds. And I might have fully loaded it. So what I think happened was I shot 3, and then the spring caught up and slammed it, I think. Or it could have been a dirty mag, or it could have been just a once in a while, not usually going to happen, but it just did. So I got to figure that one out. So it took me like 10 seconds before I just ditched the mag, went to a different mag, which is what I should have done in the first place. Yeah, and then kind of threw off my flow a little bit, shot way too low on the no-shoots, and didn't call for the 2 correct hits. Overall, not terrible, not great movement, though. So, still going a little bit easy on myself because this is like the first official stage, and by far the most movement I've shot in any USPSA match already. Again, yeah, if importantly, if I call those no-shoots, I didn't think you're 2.5 yards away. You don't need to be aiming. You need to be aiming a little bit higher because your height over board is going to just get exaggerated that close. But I had good hits outside of that, and landing at the ending was pretty good. So pretty happy about that. Movement was choppy. Something I'm working on especially is, and learning too, rifle's a little interesting with movement. It's not as easy as with a pistol in my opinion, because a pistol left and right's a little bit easier because you don't have a gun that's 16 inches sticking out of your, like, holding it into your hand. Whereas with a pistol, you can maneuver around barricades a little bit easier, I think, and this comes into play in a different stage. But what I noticed a lot of the good top PCC shooters do is moving left to right, which is by far the easiest in my opinion. They take the gun, they shoot the stock right over their right shoulder if they're right-handed, or left shoulder if they're, or what. This is for right-handed because I'm right-handed. I'm not exactly sure about left-handed because I haven't seen many PCC shooters shooting left-handed, but you shoot the stock over your right shoulder, you bring it close, and you just sprint to where you're going. This works backwards, this works forwards, left to right. Pretty much any left to right movement, that's kind of what you do. And especially with what I remember watching myself do at old USPSA matches, I stuck the stock low under my armpit and moved. It kind of works because I moved fast enough to be okay. I don't think I lost too much time in that comparison. But I know that for fast and mobility, it's easier to go stock over and just pull the stock back, reduce that length of the barrel, and just sprint to your position. I know what I've seen with like top CQB shooters and like people like that, like the GBRS group, when they do things, when they're maneuvering, they do stock over shoulder. So if it works for them, I have to imagine it works here. But this one, especially moving from this position to the final position, stock was below the armpit. I could tell immediately this was a little bit worse, but had to go shoot anyway. I fixed this for the rest of the movement, though, luckily. But yeah, so on to the next one, which I believe is names are hard too. So this one, I had the least amount of time to look through. It was the biggest stage in the biggest bay. A lot of areas for figuring out what to do. Very interesting stage design. All the stages were very fun. I will put that out there right now. Very fun, very challenging for what I've done. They might not look challenging for some, but might look challenging for others. Regardless, it was fun. It was a good learning experience. So, let's skip a little bit. So this was before me. So now I'm getting ready to shoot. And so by this time, I switched to not even using that one mag anymore. I'm going to take it apart, clean it, look at it, make sure everything's okay. should be good. So I'm using a completely different mag, and these mags are the UTG big sticks, flat sticks. They're like 33 rounds, and I've been using these. I love them. I think I've learned that you can't load them full anymore, or like much, because at the very end I'll show you on the last stage what happened as I started, and I want to look at that more. I'm gonna figure that one out. But I think if you top load them a little too heavy, the spring gets a little overloaded, and the bullets are more inclined to just pop out if you just maneuver the mag at all. But anyway, for this stage, 33 round mag. Plan is to shoot this first steel almost immediately. So starting position is outside the shooter's box. There's a stick. You have to straddle the stick with your feet. Start command, go into the shooting area and shoot. Plan is to shoot this target immediately. It's one step in, shoot this target, because it's so awkward to shoot in any other position, really. So shoot this one. Go far left, because there's 4 targets you have to kind of go for on the left. Come right, and come back. Come back. But yeah, so here's the stage. Going through my mental stage plan.
Oh. Are you ready? Stand by.
4 makeups on that first steel, not great. I think those were off. So, very clunky. I already knew that immediately. So, the plan was to shoot this clean, shoot this paper and this paper. That was the plan, and stay there. So this paper right here, I was going to shoot that from back here, because then it wrecked that last section. Instead of zigzagging up here, I would have just been able to shoot this one and then that close one and then be done. Would have saved me a lot of time. I knew that right away. But because I just shot out of the position for some reason, I didn't even look at this one right away, because that was the plan too. I shoot this one and start walking up and shoot these 2 as they become presentable. It makes sense, because then I walk up to this position, shoot the no-shoot, sprint up, and shoot these last 2. It made sense in my mind. I thought it was a good game plan, and I wanted to execute it well, because who said it? I think Tom Castro says it. Not Tom Castro. Shannon Sharp. His, 10 commands for shooting, I think. One of them was, a shitty plan executed very well is better than a great plan executed poorly. Execution is the name of the game. It doesn't matter if the plan is perfect or not. If you execute it well, that's going to be your best bet. And I thought I had a good plan. It wasn't really over the top. It wasn't crazy, but just mentally a little too fast still at the beginning, because this is the second stage, technically third, but just going too fast with my head. And so I took that paper was presentable the whole time. I should have shot it immediately. Oh, sorry. I should have shot it as I'm walking up. I didn't need to jump sprint, because by the time I get target's acquisition, I get the shot and I'm moving up, which is fine, but it rushed me too much on that last paper, and you can see I had to go back for it. So I take the 2 shots on that close paper where they were fine. I called a bad shot, and now I have to go back for it. So if I instead was just kind of slow walking up, maybe not even slow walking, but just didn't take that first initial just get out of position, go. I didn't need to do that, because I didn't plan for that. And that makeup was like another Charlie, I think. And then here exactly, instead of having to take instead of having to take that one behind the barrel here, like this, I could have just took these 2 and just ended. If I took this one further back like I planned for it. I didn't do that. But and I also have a mic on this one, I think, because I ran into the position knowing I haven't shot this one yet. I should have shot it back there, and now I have to figure out how to maneuver this. What I should have done is came in wider, I think. Came in wider, right here initially, from this no-shoot. I had to take the makeup, I know that, so I was kind of forced to kind of come out a little bit. Come up to here, and then shoot this one, and then this one as I'm moving left or right to left. I think that would have been more efficient than going middle, right, left, and having good movement. But, that's how it goes sometimes. I had a miss on one of the targets. The hits were not good overall. Again, my match notes literally say a lot of makeups off my back target sequence, or off on my back target sequence, which was when you're on that furthest back right target. Forgot the barrel shot with this paper, throwing off my flow in the second half of the stage. Movement was fast, but mental and dot acquisition was a little rough on each target. This is where I was starting to kind of get the mindset of, I'm going like 5% too fast right now. The hits are showing it. The movement was showing it. Not that I have much to reference anyway, because I haven't shot much of this anyway, but this is kind of a point of, I think I can shoot fast, I think. But I'm shooting too fast for my own good right now. I think the big play is tone it back 5%. Like, it's hard, I know, tone it back 5%, but get better hits. They don't have to be perfect, but like having, I think I ended the match with 40 Charlies out of like a 200 round count, which is not good in my opinion. I need to move that up. It was okay. It's acceptable for first match, not having unreasonable expectations for what I did. I'm happy with it. But like if I'm gonna have expectations to shoot at higher matches and I want to do well, I gotta tone that back. Shoot the alphas like I know I can. And with that, if I go 5% slower, these movement spots will be a lot more fluid. I'm not rushing like I need to, getting in too far into positions that I shouldn't actually be in, ruining a little bit of the positioning. That's kind of where I'm starting to come up with this idea. So, overall, kind of going through it. I don't think anything crazy happens after this. We're kind of talking a little bit. But yeah, that's that stage. Very interesting again. Big stage. Very intimidating. So this next one, enough or too many. Yeah, this one's one of the ones that's corrupted. Gosh dang it, because this one was actually not a bad one. But here, I have a PDF version of it. Okay. So here's the start. This one was a very intimidating one in my opinion. So these yellows are shooting positions. Start position is straddling the stick with your feet. And yeah, so my initial plan was to go left spot here, shoot this paper, and shoot T10, because you can see it from this line, and you can only see it from this line. So that's the plan, because you have to shoot this position. And then from here, you shoot T7 and T9, which just kind of a starter step. And then you run up over here to shoot these three. Shoot this one, kind of start walking up, and then shooting these two as they're presented. And then run up to this little like board here. So this was an actual like piece of plywood board, not plywood, like a 2x6, 2x4. You had to, I think it was 2x6. You had to walk on, and this was close on the barrier. For the pistol shooters, it wasn't as bad, but for a rifle, it was a tough navigation. So what I had to end up doing was starting back here, which I think is still the fastest now that I'm looking at it. You start from the start position on buzzer. You go back to this position. You shoot these three as you're engaging. And actually, I think, yeah, you shoot these three, and then you sprint to the left to this corner to shoot the three like you did. Sidestep, shoot T7, T9, and then run up to the board, and then you can engage the rest from there. And I'll explain that in a second. Fun fact: when I shot T12 to T13. I started exiting the position like I was going right. Like I shot the stock over my right shoulder, and I'm like, it took me half a second to be like, I'm not going right. I need to be going left. Like, I shoot those two, I drop my left hand, I hold the gun out, finger out of the trigger well, and holding the gun out as I'm sprinting to the left. I shot the stock over my right shoulder. I'm like, what am I doing? So like, I wasn't gonna turn all the way around. I know that, but then I had to like, kind of like walk backwards and then walk laterally and then start sprinting forward as my hips flipped. But that was a weird one. So I shot these targets. I took like 4 shots on T10, even though I had hits on them. I think that ended with 2 alpha, and like one of them was a makeup, so that was okay. I don't remember this for sure. I think because of the way I hit my flipped and turned on this position exiting, I was rushing a little bit. I completely forgot T7, T9. I'm pretty sure. They scored it as 2 alpha each, I think. But I'm pretty sure I didn't even engage these two, even though I had to, because there's only one spot you can engage them from. I don't think I engaged them at all. And I think that gave me 2 alpha on both. I'm not sure if that happened. The video got corrupted, and it's not me trying to cheat, because there's no point in me cheating. If it had two no shoot or two failure to engage, I would have taken it because that's what happened. I think that's what happened though. But anyway, moving on. I had to. So because this was also the largest round count of the stages, and I was using a 33 rounder, I took like 4 makeups on this one, and I knew going into this I probably had to reload or I was getting too close to comfort. So I decided after this position here I was going to reload up to the plank, and I did. I think it worked. It felt fluid. It felt good. Nothing crazy. Got up to the board. I shot T3, T4, and T5 in that order because as I'm transitioning out, I made focus target. That T5 is literally a yard away from me. I'm pointing my gun. I'm just trigger slapping go. And because it's a board, I step off the board. I yank it back, the shoulder over my right stock, or my stock over my right shoulder, and push back out once I get around. I shoot T8, T11, T15, and T6 is actually a swinger. And it's a manual swinger. So on this right side of this barricade right here was a weight and a string. And that was the activator. So you had to pull the string that swung the swinger, and then that's how you did it. If you came up to this position right here, you could shoot it without even swinging it. You had the angle behind the barrel to be able to do it if you stood right here. And some people shot that, but I've realized you don't even need to take these two shooting boxes at all. Like, you just don't. You can take them from right here, and I think you could do it quite fast. So I ran up. I actually fumbled with the string a little bit. It took me like almost half a second to actually pull the string. By the time I pulled the string, I went to T8, T11, T15, and then came back to the swinger. Okay hits, but I think. But that was that was how I shot that. And so my stage notes for right after was overall felt pretty good. Took more makeups on the far shots than I needed, but not terrible shots. Fumbled the swinger too a little bit, but the tighter shooter boxes were difficult with the PCC. So overall, not bad. Not bad. Reload also went well in between these two positions. Also had to take an extra on the swinger because my arm was touching the barrier, which would have been a penalty. So the other thing was, if you are touching any of these barriers at any point that you're shooting, and if you don't, like, that's a procedural if you're taking those hits. So I had, and it wasn't purposeful. The way I punched out and like turned back around to hit, like tear the swinger after shooting these far ones, my arm brushed the barrier, and I called that. So I took 3 shots on the paper, like consciously kind of moving my arm a little bit, and they obviously didn't call it because I took 2 shots on the 6, and that's what they took. But that was a good catch in my mind. That was like, okay, I don't know if he saw it, but I knew I mentally touched the barrier, and that would have been a penalty, and I would have had to call myself for it. So I did have to take an extra shot on that. And this is where I actually made the note. Still a tiny bit too fast, I think. Only like 5% too quick on physical and mental movement. For what I could have actually probably shot. Instead of maybe 70% hits, I probably could have hit 85, 90% hits, maybe even 95% hits if I went 5% slower on movement. My mental would have caught up to it. Dot acquisition would have been a lot better, and been able to go. But yeah, that was a fun stage. It was new. It was tough on certain spots that I've never practiced before. It kind of gives me an idea of things I need to work on. Like, I can take these two as they present themselves. I should be able to kind of walk on them, like walk shoot them. Same thing here. Taking a starter step in a shooter's box and taking 2 and running. Not something I've ever practiced before. But yeah, it was a fun stage. I liked that one a lot. And so the next one, which was also one that didn't work, called Try to Be Skinny. This one was an interesting one as well, because there's two positions that you are in a tight spot for. So start position is feet starting on the stick, and then engage as you would normally. Also the first time I ever shot IPSC targets at this match. Kind of put the stage aside IPSC targets. Very interesting. Different aiming point, I think. But overall, same idea. Aim hard in the middle. Aim small, miss small. Hopefully you hit the alphas, obviously. My initial thought, for some reason, because I'm stupid, on start, run back to this right position, shoot the targets on these close, and shoot the T10, because that's where you had to shoot them. Run up to this left side, shoot T1, T2, and T5 as you saw them. Run up to this close position, shoot T4 and T3. T3 and T7 are behind these barrels where you can only see them from these 2 close in positions. So shoot T6 and T3, and then run in front of the barrier with the PCC, and then shoot back as fast as I can to get into this corner to shoot T6 and T7. Didn't think it would have been bad, but then I realized, and one of the people I was with, he's like, I'm just going to go up to this position, shoot the close position, and then move back, and then kind of make like a reverse O sense, or like make a reverse U around these positions. And I thought about that, and I was like, that's a good idea, because these two positions are by far the hardest positions to be in. You never want to, like, you're going to lose the most time if you're going to make these two positions the consecutive positions, because the maneuvering alone is just going to be the worst. But because they're not consecutive, and they're also the beginning and the end, that works. So I ran up to this first position, shot T6 and T7. I think they're maybe Alpha Charlie on T6, 2 Alpha on T7. Shot back like I would with stock over right shoulder to this position, T8, T9, and T10. 2 Alpha both on these close ones. I think another Alpha Charlie on T10. Ran to this left position, T1, T2, T5. I think Alpha Charlie, 2 Alpha. Ran up to this final position, T4 and T3 was 2 Alpha, and then Alpha Mike. I missed. I don't remember calling a miss, but I missed, which was interesting because I didn't think I did, but they called it. It was what it was. No, T1 and T2 were not at Alpha Charlies. I think one of them was a Charlie Delta. I did not have good aiming points on these ones because I was rushing into position a little bit. But either way, shooting like that felt great. It was good. Having these two hardest positions be the beginning and the end made it really easy, because also in this picture it didn't really do it justice. You were actually closer to this first position than you were any of the other positions, because it looks a little bit like, oh, you're kind of in the middle of this triangle. No, you had like twice as long of a distance between this than it actually shows. So it made sense, because I was going to do this weird, no, just shoot the hard position, because it's when you're starting that close, you're like a step away from shooting into position. Shoot that, run back, run around, and then shoot back into the hardest position. That makes sense. Honestly, that makes sense. I'm really happy I talked to some of the guys that I was with, because that made so much more sense. I changed my plan like almost as soon as I was about to go up, which was interesting. So my notes was too many Charlies, but overall felt pretty good. Suddenly changing a sequence, change of sequence, but I think it worked well. Movement felt pretty good, except slightly slipped in the second half, but overall felt really good. Mounted the gun a bit odd in one of the positions, but I still think I went 2 Alpha, 1 Alpha, 1 Charlie, and 2 Alpha. Speed felt a lot more controlled this time, maybe only 1 to 2% too fast. And again, by this time, especially outside of like that first stage where not stock over shoulder, all my movement from left to right has been stock over shoulder and felt in like zooming. And the bigger thing is sprinting. I still don't think I'm doing like 100% sprint. Granted, I don't think you can really when you're holding a gun. But felt like I was definitely going a lot faster. Ben Stoker does it well. He's like, if you're going to shoot a stage and say you have to shoot it 2 or 3 times, you should really be out of breath after shooting that stage if you're going hard like you need to. Like, you're really going and pushing to those positions. Which, after about every stage outside of, like, the warm-up one, because you're not moving, but outside of every stage, I felt adrenaline spike, felt my breathing was heavy. I had an Apple Watch on. I should actually look, and I'll probably post it somewhere. But like, I'm sure my heart rate spiked, and each time I ran those runs, so I'm happy about that, because I haven't really practiced movement too much. Realistically, I need to be dry firing more. There's a lot I've learned from this one. I know immediately I need to dry fire more, but really pushing positions is really important. And I think I did a good job of getting that. I would say I'm probably like 90%, 95% of movement in terms of like pushing hard into positions. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean I'm like there, because I need to make sure everything else is up, like dot acquisition, mental focus, focusing on hits and all that. But movement wise, I definitely felt like I improved, which is really cool to see. I'm very happy with that, because I haven't practiced this. I've watched a lot of videos, and that's where I've been learning this from, which is really cool. But yeah, so that was this stage. Another decent stage overall, outside of the miss, obviously. But so on to the next one, which was boxed in, which was a fun one. This one was another kind of tight position one. This is where that 45-degree sight came in. This one, normally, if you're a handgun, it's loaded, holstered, hands on the X's. For PCC, muzzle has to be touching the X, whatever. And it's kind of a mirror stage. Whatever you shoot in one position, you're pretty much going to shoot the exact opposite in the other position, outside of literally these two targets being a hardcover and just a no-shoot. So, like, start, shoot this target. There's a target on this barrel right here. Run over here, shoot this target, shoot the target over here, run back, and whatever. It's pretty straightforward. I'll get into it after I show. But so I'm getting ready.
Are you ready?
Starting muzzle on the X, which is a new one for
Stand
me.
by.
Never knew about that. So, not bad. I definitely know there's a lot of improvement on this one. So, this first target went fine. Acquisition went well. I'm actually using the 45-degree sight because this stretch, turning right, this is the exact reason I have a 45-degree mount on there, is doing a hard lean right is really difficult when you're a right-handed shooter, unless you have a 45-degree. It's not impossible by any means, but it's really hard. And this came into effect well. But, took just too long to target acquisition, get the sight and target on there. Like, it took probably half a second too long than I would have liked. But we're still good hits. I'm happy about that. They were good hits. Running into this position, using the top sight. And actually, you hear it. As I'm exiting that one position and shooting the stock over my right shoulder, my stock hit that wood barrier a little bit. So that did throw me off a little bit. Not too much, but it did hit that, which is really funny. And you could hear me, too. I'm breathing. Like, I'm breathing in and out. You heard me breathe hard for this. Not too hard, but, like, I breathed for it. That one was pretty... This entry was pretty good. Took a little bit to get into position and find the dot. And good hits. I called a bad hit on this one, and so that's why I have an extra shot. But I know for a fact I didn't even hit with a makeup. I had 2 hits on it, but like it was like I think it was a Charlie, and one of the Charlies might have even been a Delta. It was not a good hit. So I was like, I'm just gonna try to swing back, hit it on the exit because it's got to be fast. I completely missed. I'm pretty sure I saw that bullet go straight into that piece of like the sand to the right of it by like a foot. It was not good. But I'm moving. I had 2 hits. The hit factor you're gonna get by taking a better hit and slowing down so much is going to drastically be worse than taking those 2 bad hits. And this one, entry was fine. 45-degree sight mount, you can kind of see. I'm going to try to do better and find a better camera angle. I'm thinking if I put the camera with a backwards hat, it's a little bit better. You can see more of the target and actually more of the gun that I'm holding. So I'm going to try for that. I'll mess around and try to get some test footage and see if that actually fixes it, because I have no problem with turning my hat around and putting the camera right here for my run and then putting it back after my run, especially if there's 8 shooters. But anyway, hard lean didn't need to be as hard as I did, but again, carrying so much momentum to the left, and I don't think I was really prepared for it. I'm not sure if that's just kind of how it goes on these types of leans, but it felt like how I needed to do it. I had decent hits on this one and took 3 on this target as I was falling. That was a new experience. I think I did well, but outside of the fact that I hit an alpha, a mic, and another mic. So one of the shots hit, one of the shots completely missed, and one of the shots hit like kind of low right here on the black of the hardcover, which I think I pulled as I was falling, which is a new one for me. I definitely could have done a little bit better because I thought the dot was on it, and I knew it was like high left. So like I was aiming here as I came into it, and I saw the dot kind of do one of these. So I think to fight it, I pushed down a little bit harder on the very last shot, and it hit a mic. If I didn't have the mic, even then it wouldn't have been bad. It would have been better, but I still had a lot of Charlies, I think. But here's the notes I had. Fast, still a bit too fast. Liking the dot movement with the 147 grain bullets. Just still going a bit too fast. Movement is definitely improving, though. Work on entries and exits, and this is in all caps. Clean up those misses too. Obviously pointing out the misses there. But so the 147s. So I did finally tune my JP5. which has been amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't realize how well it could actually be, and I don't think I'm still using it exactly to its ability. So my dad, who's the best, he loads all of the stuff. He does it all. It's amazing. I'm so grateful. He had bought 147 grain bullets, plated, because I've had issues with polymer coated with the gun. Plated bullets, 4.2 grains of superfield, and 1.145 overall length. I'm not sure how well this is going to be seen. So you can kind of see a little bit of glare. So I brought it in a bag like this, just a range bag of bullets. But I tuned the gun. Originally, it had an 80-degree lock piece and a stock spring. Recently, I bought the 70-degree lock piece, which they make so many degrees of locking pieces, which is insane to me. And also the buffer spring system. So I bought this. Obviously, I put a different one in because it felt better. But there's like 5 different springs in here, ranging between the percentages of 100. So the lowest is 80%, 85%, 90, 95%, and 100. I think I have the 85 in there. I think is what I have in there. And for dot movement, it's been the best, I think. I tested it quite a bit with a lot of rounds, with double tapping the targets, and in terms of dot movement, like, I was confident double tapping a lot of these. I think a lot of times, like, when I aimed the way I needed to, the double taps were exactly where they needed to be, and the dot did not move much. Like, I even tested this afterwards, because I also brought 115 grain factories, which we chronoed to like 1250, which is pretty standard for factory, just in case I ran out of 147s. And I tried them in the same tuning for the 147s. That dot was all over the place. Like, I've never seen. Like, in the 147s, that tuning was great. Plan is, again, grateful for my dad. He's gonna be buying more 147s, and we're gonna be messing around with more loads, using tight group potentially. I'm gonna be shooting for like a 140 power factor, because I can tune the gun to that. That's the plan. And again, I know it's a little bit better to shoot a little bit higher power factor than minimum, because I think minimum is 125. I don't want to have any reason, if ever I go to a bigger match where they get chronoed, to have any reason to be worried if I'm shooting a 130 power factor and 1 or 2 of them just so happens to be a little bad. If a 140, I can tune the gun to it. It'll have no issues with power factor. I'm pretty happy with it, so that's the plan. But yeah, tuning the gun, it feels great. It feels great. But on to the next one, which I think is the last stage of the match that we shot. Extra positions. Sorry about that. I had to do something real quick. But, so, this is the last stage of the day. I think it was a very fun stage. Very fun stage. I like this one a lot. I actually had to start this stage. This was one of the more complex ones, in my opinion. Obviously, as you're shooting stages, the first person that shot the last stage gets sent to the bottom, and that's kind of how they kind of flip it. So the first person doesn't keep shooting the first stage, or first on every stage, obviously. So this was the one that I had to shoot first, and it just so happened to be the last one. And my plan for it was pretty good. It was pretty solid. It was a good stage, and I executed it well, as you'll see, I think. But the start was very, very... Not before the start was very good. Yeah. So, take shots.
Way too right to left.
Just going through a walkthrough. Feeling good. Going through. And funny enough, I actually do the same thing I did in this walkthrough. I kind of overshot this first time, but we'll see.
The 12-second master.
So, the camera angle probably will not pick this up, but with the 2 mags that I had, so not to mention this was also a 28 round stage. I never like to load mags, obviously now during this because of what happened earlier, but in general I never like to load them to max, because it's just, Not great all the time. I usually will do 32 or 31 in a 33 rounder because then the spring doesn't have any more likelihood to mess up at all. So as I did that, I already took out, like, I think I'm at 32 with these mags. These are hold 33. As I load it, I don't know if it's because of the plastic or what, if the spring's too overloaded. As I load it, one bullet goes in, and one bullet, the top bullet of the magazine, pops out into like where the bolt carrier is. And this happens like 5 times. I'm not sure if it's gonna pick it up. But you can
These
see
mags seem to be funny.
That's happened 3 or 4 times today.
Yeah. Well, let's hope I don't miss. Oh, another time.
Yeah, so I have 2 mags on me. Not to mention a belt that has a pocket on my back hip, pretty much. And so as this is happening, I'm not picking these rounds up.
I wonder what's going on.
And I'm switching between, and I'm like, I'm gonna be running out of ammo. I'm not gonna have enough rounds through the year to run this stage without having to do a reload. This is not gonna be great. So that one worked. Thank God. I'm thanking the Lord for that one because that one worked and nothing happened. But by this time, I don't know how many rounds. I think I had 30 rounds here. So I had like 1 or 2 makeups, and if I consciously knew that, I would have to reload. And the pockets on my back hip, it wasn't perfect by any means. But I'll get it.
Well, let's hope that works.
So going through my mental stage again, very, very, very funny or very interesting to try to do a focus thing when that whole thing happened, where you're just wondering like what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna figure that out.
Are you ready? Stand by.
So there's already one makeup.
If you're finished, unload your there.
So the reason I make that noise is I pull out the mag, that thing's empty. I see the follower, empty. I rack it, there's one in, surprisingly. But I had 2 makeups and I had 1 bullet left. So tough. That was a tight window. Not exactly how I wanted it to go, but that's just how it went. But overall, felt good. You can kind of see my spot for this port. I overshot it a little bit, so I had to kind of come back to shoot this target. Realistically, I could have done that a lot better, but overall, stage felt good. I definitely toned down, and I think you can see I toned down quite a bit to shoot these targets, almost a little too much, in my opinion. But here's the notes I wrote right after. Feeling really good overall. Final 3 just went about perfect. These 3 right here. Best stage in my opinion. Good movement. Kind of overshot the final position. Movement-wise, I took a step too far. But I think that's just from being speedy. Very nice stage to end it all, and things felt really good with shot timing. Maybe could have cleaned up those close 3 a bit better, but very good altogether. And I'm referring to these 3 right here. I think I had a Charlie, Alpha, and I think an Alpha. I don't remember what exactly happened, but they're so close that they should just be alphas. They're that close. And these 2, I aimed a little too hard. Again, IPSC targets are new to me, so the aiming part's a bit different. USPSA targets, when they're covered like that, I think they show a little bit more, or something about having just a bigger target in general makes me aim a little bit better. I think it was like an Alpha Charlie. I think that's how these ones went. They could have been 2 alphas. I like that timing, though. I think that cadence for the shots on aiming hard and not being able to kind of just full double tap on an empty target I think that's kind of how I have to do it. Versus these ones. And that close one was 2 Delta or 2 Charlie. That was just an awkward position. I could have fixed that by over-exaggerating a little bit. But these ones need to be faster, I think. And I think I froze. So I froze a little bit on the first target, sped up, which was good. That cadence was good. Good cadence. Good movement, because I'm exploding onto the position, getting to the new one. And I shot to this position perfectly. Like, obviously there's a big room that you can see these targets on, but felt good. And then I think I trigger freezed again. shot, moved my gun consciously. I had to go back to it. I think I had 2 alphas on these. On all these. Very nitpicky. I think I could have gone a little bit faster on this one, but very nitpicky. And I think I could have tried to gone a little bit faster from this steel to this transition. I'm going to work on that a little bit. Not to mention, all 4 of these back ones right here are all alphas, which is really cool. I'm really happy about that. And they're pretty tight shots, too, on those ones. But, like, I think transitions in this one is the big one I got to work on. And I think I walk around. I should be able to... So, looks like a Charlie Delta.
Bottom of that.
Oh, this one's 2 Charlie because I aimed 2.
Oh, there it is.
Alpha Charlie. Yep. This one might be 2. They might just
Alpha
be
Charlie.
They're 2 named Charlies.
Charlie Delta.
That was
2 alpha. 2 alpha. 2 alpha.
See. So good spot here.
Oh.
Good spot here. High.
2 alpha.
if I said
Another good spot here. Not super tight, but for the range, the speed, those 3 were great. Loved it. Again, the only thing I really could have done a little bit better is shoot. Not overshot the position and shot this one a little bit better. That was 2 alpha as well and felt good. Shoot the steal and then been a little bit faster in the transition, but
I was aiming at those, I'd be.
so, yeah, felt good, and I accidentally left this running a little bit too long. But yeah, overall, I went over the notes. So that was the stage, and that was the match. I think I ended 3rd overall. Yeah, so ended 3rd overall in PCC, unclassified, behind 2 carry optics guys. These guys were smoking fast. I'm not going to play the what if game, especially on that one stage, because, you know, that's not how it goes. If you played what if, I'm sure everyone would shoot a lot better than they actually did. But again, pointing out, I shot 4 Charlies, 4 Deltas, 3 Mikes, and 2 no-shoots. That alone, obviously, if I was shooting more consistently, that alone would be a pretty bad, but it was a good way to learn, especially at a level 1 match, to learn, tune it down 5%. Tune it down like 5%, because that last stage, I think, is, what's it called? Extra position. Nope, that's review. I think I got this stage. Yeah, I won this stage. Not perfect hits, but super quick, and hit factor was super good. Again, I shouldn't be saying much because I'm a PCC going against the carry optics and a few open guys. I can be doing a little bit better. Obviously, those hits could have been better. Time was pretty good. But yeah, like this stage alone, if I can shoot consistently like this, I'd be no problems. I'm not sure where I would stand. I'm thinking classification. I'd either be like a high A or a low M, I think, which would be interesting. If I go to this classifier match, I think I'm gonna try to get rated because I am very curious to see. But yeah, if I could shoot like this stage, I'd be more than happy. I think I could do very well. I think. But it's staying consistent is the difficult thing. Because then again, if I go to this stage, nope, never mind. This stage I also got that one. What was it? Who farted? Yeah, this one. I shot 34th, 82 points, 20 penalties because of the no-shoots, and a 24-second run with a 2.46 hit factor. Again, mental errors. Magazine is not exactly my issue, not exactly an issue in terms of mental, but it does then fix into the no-shoots. Because if I had those no-shoots, I could have had 2 alpha, could have been a little bit faster. Obviously, with the magazines, it would have been a lot better overall. I could have been way higher in this list. But again, not really pushing too hard. Now I know it's like, okay, if I shoot the way I know I can and things go pretty consistently and I keep things in control that I can shoot well. The extra position stage is a good example of that. Enough or too many is a good example of that because it went well. I think try to be skinny was okay. Honestly, was okay. I had a penalty because of the miss, but 14-second run with a 79 points. If I picked up that miss, that would have been... If I picked up the miss, it would have been a stage win. Again, not playing the what-if game, because it's not that important. But, like, that one miss would have been a stage win. Boxed in. Let's see. I had a miss and not great hits, which, again, just a little bit too fast. I think I can definitely tune that down. Names are hard. This one was difficult. This was the one that had the weird match flow, had the miss, and it showed with my time. I think realistically that one could be. If I looked at it longer and really game planned it, I think it could be down to like a 17-second run with PCC, maybe 18-second run. The fast guys can probably do that with pretty good hits too. I'm okay with the 101, but the miss is not good. But again, going too fast. Names are hard. That was just the one we were on. Whoops. But yeah, like, in warm-up, I was happy with that one. I wasn't shooting too fast. I think that was very repeatable for myself. But yeah, overall, that's kind of the rundown of the match that happened. That was a very fun match again. Very happy. Planning on going to the classifier match because I'm very intrigued to see where I'd shoot at with the classifiers, especially with new classifiers because I've only ever shot like the 99s, which are the old ones. Very interested to see if I'd be like an M, a low M, or a high A. That's where I'm thinking I would be. Anything higher than that would be surprising to me. Eventually, the goal is obviously GM. I think that'd be a cool goal to get. But I think where I'm starting at is pretty good. I'd be okay with high A. I think I'm good with high A. I think that's a good starting point. Anything less than that, obviously, I'm not upset because this is the first time I've been classified. I got to start somewhere. There's a lot to learn. Big things are movement, really focus on transitions, aiming hard on certain targets a little bit more than I need to. And yeah, just like overall kind of just now I have an idea of what things to work on, especially if I try to go to like an Area 5 match, IPSC, which would be crazy, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go to that one. But yeah, overall, yeah, that's kind of the rundown of the match that just went down. It was, yeah, again, very fun. So I think that's it. So I'll probably be trying. I like these analysis things. I like being able to talk about it. Kind of, not only does it mentally make me focus on what actually was happening rather than thinking about it and actually kind of articulating it and really understanding why things happened. So I like these. I'll probably try to do these after every match. I think it'd be a cool way to do it. Especially like Area 5 where it's like big boys show up. Everyone shows up to win, and it's a big one. But yeah, so that's all. I hope you enjoyed this analysis, kind of the rundown of the stages. Yeah, so see ya.